Hey everyone, in today's video I want to show you how to create your own website for your business or for personal use completely from scratch. And we'll use a platform, very popular platform called Squarespace. I previously made a video for beginners and I walked you through all kinds of different ways to make a website because there's plenty of options out there. Squarespace is just one of them. So I'll put a link in the description to that if you haven't seen that and you want to just know what options are out there for you. This is going to walk you through step by step on designing a website from scratch on Squarespace. And I'm building a e-commerce website to sell these bracelets for my son. So I'm gonna set up the website, set up the e-commerce template, but it doesn't matter if you don't have anything to sell. It could be for portfolios, really anything. They have templates for every profession and every industry. E-commerce, I thought, is more appropriate just because it'll give you a little bit of extra. So just in case down the road you want to create an e-commerce website and you don't want to go the Shopify route, which is the more expensive advanced option, you could still do it with Squarespace. I do have a link in the description on my video to Squarespace, so if you want to follow along, click that and I'll walk you through the entire process. So when you click the link in the description, you will land on this website and we just want to press get started on top and I'll walk you through kind of the starting process. But what Squarespace does, and a lot of these platforms do, is they let you start with a template rather than starting from scratch. It's really hard to build a website from scratch. Templates make it really, really easy. And right here on top, just to kind of make things easier for you, they're gonna let you pick from different categories. So in my case, I wanna build an online store, but if you have a portfolio or a blog, for example, you could choose those. I'm gonna choose online store. And this is just filtering the different templates I'm gonna see down here. So what I need to do at this point is I need to go through and see which one catches my eyes. Now they're somewhat customizable, but as close as to your final product that you could get here, the easier it is for customization because you don't have to do a whole bunch. So take your time at this stage, go through a lot of these filters up here, look at all the templates even if you want to, and see which one catches your eye based on the type of business that you have or personal website that you have. So this one caught my attention. It's the simplest one, and you could actually preview any of these sites. And if you look on top, a lot of the websites let you look at things on like an iPad size or a tablet size and a mobile size. And nowadays, you really want to pay attention to the mobile layout. So you could also press View Demo Site, and this is just that pickle site, right? I'm going to put the bracelet here instead. But I really like how simple this design is, right? If you have good photography, this could be a very simple website and no one is going to get confused here. You're just going to say the bracelet's name here, shop now, and it's going to take you to a place where you could buy things. And you could do this with pretty much any type of website you have, right? These are all the blog templates. One of the most common ones are these kind of portfolio designs or this business websites where you could demo the site. And you're going to be able to change all this text, this picture, recent work, anything else that catches your eye here, you could actually change to whatever you want. So I'm going to go back up to my template, and since I previewed it and liked it, I'm going to say start with Hester, this template. Then at this point, if I haven't created an account, I'll need to create one, so let me go ahead and do that. And what I love about Squarespace and other platforms like this, they walk you through this whole process really, really simply. So site title, what's the name of your site? So this brand is called Pine Band. I'll press continue. Now, and this is kind of a guide, so I'm going to just skip through these next couple of pages because I'm going to show you all this. And I'm going to press get started here. So I just basically only titled my site. All this stuff could be changed later too. Now at this point, I'm using the free trial, so I still have 14 days before I need to upgrade. But I think when you go live with the website, you do have to subscribe here. So I'll just kind of build it out and test it out. And what I mentioned before, this little mobile preview, make sure you use this all the time as you design because the majority of the people out there use the website on mobile devices over the computer view. So I always think of mobile preview and mobile design first before I go to the desktop version. At least I try to. And you get this little assistant here that you could actually go ahead and follow along with. But I typically just leave it alone here because I'm going to show you some of these things manually. So we'll go through it. But it does, if you don't know where to start, kind of give you a guideline, right? We did site title, and now maybe we want to add a site logo. So I'm going to come up here and press edit. And now it basically brings me to this mode that lets me edit all kinds of stuff, right? So I could start with the header. The site title already created this header for me, at least this title. I could click right here and I could change the logo, for example. So I'll click site title and logo. We already did this in the very first page. You could do it here again or edit it, and I'll go ahead and add a logo. And I already created a folder. So if you're doing this for a client, for example, you could always ask for these type of assets like logos and images and things like that. So I could go ahead and take their logo here and choose that as my logo for the website. And this is what the logo looks like here. So if it doesn't look good, I could always use a different image. In this case, it doesn't look good. I really want a transparent one, or I could just remove the image and let the title take place if you don't have the right logo. Now, I have a ton of videos on creating logos from scratch too, completely on your own if you don't have one here. But this is how you would set this up, and you could also add a different mobile logo too. So that's typically your first step. Go with the title and logo, and then let's look at the different elements that we have. We could actually add something like this if you want people to get started here. We could go ahead and change that, and you could see the text could be edited, and the link to that text could be edited too. In this case, we don't need it. If you're not an e-commerce and you still chose this for some reason, you could always turn off the icon for the cart. But if you chose a non-e-commerce website, you don't have that. Then this is really cool because you could have a change to your color template here. So right now, if I turn this off, you could see what's happening on top. I could turn it on and make it this way, right? So this is transparent. This is non-transparent, where I could actually kind of make a decision here based on what I like. So there's a bunch of different options to choose from, and it makes it really easy, and you could edit any of these when you're ready, save it. It looks like that. Now, you could change your mind at any time, and you have a bunch of other themes here to choose from, and very, very customizable options. So site title, maybe that could be white, so I could change that, but then leave everything else as is. You could see next to every word, like heading, I could go ahead and change that, and all these are going to change. So experiment with colors here and go with something you like. So for example, the navigation links, I'm going to turn white too. So that's navigation links. That was my site title. And whatever you changed here, you'll see which one is associated with. So you don't really have to know the lingo here, the coding lingo or programming. You just need to know which colors you like and change it there. Okay, so I just closed that panel here. The next thing we typically want to do, I typically just worry about editing this template. I don't do anything else, right? But when I'm in this edit mode, you could see you get this option to add sections. So if something wasn't there and you want it there, so maybe underneath this, I want to add a whole section, you could always do that. And it gives you these pre-designed sections. It makes it really, really easy. These are already designed for you. So all you have to do, for example, to add a headline or a list or a gallery or even an image, they're all here. So let's say I wanted to add a quote. I could add something like this, an inspiring quote here, and then choose one of these options. Maybe this one here, I'll choose it. And then it's going to add this whole section for me, right? And what I could do, again, with this section, super easy. Click here, edit this, type out my own quote, and then when I'm ready, change this image. So I'll just press edit to edit this section here. So you could see you have some formatting option for the size, like the height here, the width here, the alignment. And typically you could change the background image or video, or you could replace what's already there if there was something there. This is the background image. You could change the colors again. Any section has this formatting option where you could jump in and change the colors. And if you double click this image here, it's going to bring up this box where you could go ahead and change the contents. So I don't want this image, I want my own. So I'm going to add an image here from my library. And there you go, you have that. And then I'll go ahead and choose a quote here that's appropriate for my website. So I added a section that wasn't previously there on the design. But what if you want to actually delete a section that's there and you don't want it anymore? Well, it's just like adding one, except you just press this garbage can here, and it will just like that remove this whole section and bring the last one up. This is so easy to do with this, and I've actually learned how to create websites using code, and it takes so long to do any of this using code, or really lots of platforms that require more advanced knowledge. So let's go ahead and edit the top part here. This is for a good call to action, so people immediately know what your website is and what you're doing, and you want this nice banner image. I'm going to design it on the mobile view here to see what it looks like, because I like to design mobile first a lot of times. So I'll go ahead and type some text here. And I like to usually keep each letter capitalized here. And this is the kind of the hard part that you should probably think of before you jump into your design, is you need to kind of think of the words that are going to be on your page, right? So I'm just quickly writing this out just off the top of my head. But if I was working with someone else or making a website for someone else, I would kind of ask them to think about this based on their business. This makes sense for this business here, okay? Shop now is going to make sense, but if I want to edit that, I could double click it and type out the text. And this is linking to another page, which is basically the website /shop, which is fine in this case. And with anything, you could design it differently too. So you could see I could change the design slightly over here with that icon. So I need to change out the background. Now, sometimes you double click and you'll get an option like this, or you'll get this little edit icons. Depends on what asset or what option you're on here. But I want to change the background. So I'm going to go to background. There's the pickle. I'm going to replace it here. And I'll try this image here that I have from the library. And I'm choosing this image here, but look what happens. The text is really hard to read with this kind of image in the background, right? So I just added this image, but you have all kinds of options here. So you could just kind of play around with image, but overlay opacity really fixes the issue. So if I raise this up, you can see it makes some kind of overlay where it makes the text easier to read. So sometimes I play around with the color of the text or the background. And you could always use this other website, canva.com, where you could kind of create all kinds of different images and assets. This is for anything, marketing, design, social media. You could do it all here. And I use things here that a client, for example, would send me to kind of tweak the different images they send me to make it work. But you do have options over here, and you have image effects too. So I could kind of do effects to an image, like maybe, let's see what that does. So you could see it kind of added a different kind of an effect to it. And you do have some editing the image option right within here. So let me show you that page where you could kind of make things darker or brighter. You have contrast, you have saturation. I can make it black and white or really boost it. Let's try that. You can make things sharper or softer here. You could even blur things, but sometimes really helps. For example here, if I blur this and save it on top, let me show you what ends up happening. It blurs the bracelets, but it makes it a lot easier to read the text. As soon as this is done, let me show you what that looks like. And the text becomes easier to read, so you could drop the opacity maybe on that case, right? You see that? And if you don't like this overlay color, if you come to the color tab, this is the overlay right now. But you could change it, like something dark like this looks pretty good, right? So maybe I'll change it to that, or something light like this. The text becomes really easy. It automatically changed the color of the text. You see that? Makes it black or white to make it easier to read. All right, so now let's look at it on the desktop view. Not bad. It looks pretty good here too. So back to mobile, and we like everything that we have so far. Okay, so let's keep going. We added this element ourselves. We'll make sure we add a quote here. Maybe this section for now we don't need, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete this section. We could always bring sections back to with the way I showed you how to create this section. If you want to capture emails, which is always useful for any e-commerce platform, you could have a thing like this where people could subscribe to your email list. And typically you want to add more images. So I'm gonna actually add more images here. I'll press the plus sign and upload my own. And you could search images too. They do have a library of stuff you've put up here, and they have some free and premium images you could choose from. So if this is for athletes, I could look up athletes and maybe add some of these free images of athletes, right? Maybe this one, I'll add that image. And this one doesn't make sense. No pepper, no pickle, no lettuce. I'll just add images here and upload my own. So in this case, 4 is going to look good. So I'll just go ahead and add 4 images here. We got 4. Let's go ahead and close this up here. And just like that, our website has been changed. Then I could go ahead and edit the footer, right? This will be the name of the company, Pine Band. This will be the address. If I want to have an address, I don't have to have an address in this case if it's not a physical business. And made by Squarespace. And I'll go ahead and delete that. And with your social icons too, you could go ahead and edit that if you want and add your own here. And it'll let you add social icons or edit the existing ones here. I'll just leave it for now and then link them out later. Okay, so there it is. What I recommend you do at this point is just view it on both mobile and your desktop view to see how it looks. And let me go back, and you have your site style, which you could do in the beginning or at the end, but you could set your fonts, colors, animation, and spacing all from over here. Okay, so if you decided to go with a different font, you could always do that. Now, I typically go with what the template recommends because that's professionally designed, so I do like it that way. Let me press done for now. Save, done. And I'm gonna kind of maybe even check off what I've done here, right? Add and delete a page, maybe change font and colors, add images. I've already done all this, right? So before I actually finalize and launch, I do need to add products, right? This is an e-commerce platform. So since I've already worked on one page here, let's go to the e-commerce part, right? We did the pages and design. Let's go to commerce, and we want to start selling. So I need to sell something. Not selling yet. We are selling, let's go with shoes and accessory. Bracelets fit in that. How many products do you have? Maybe 100. And add products for sale, right? That's what I'm doing. So that's the kind of the e-commerce if you chose that path. If you have a physical digital item to sell gift cards to. So I have a physical item in this case I want to sell. So I would go ahead and add the image to that item, right? So I would need individual pictures of these bracelets in different colors. Add them like this, maybe multiple. So I could set a price. I could turn on if it's on sale, and it will kind of cross this off and have a sales price. So maybe that could be a good option for me. If I have variations, I could add it. A lot of stuff, especially SEO comes in really handy because then you could easily share it on social with this kind of description, and it can rank in Google with the SEO, basically a description of what the item is. So you really want to take your time here and make sure this is really set up right, and then press done on top or save and publish. Let's go ahead and save and publish here. And now if you press shop now, see, it took you to the shop page with that new item, right? We want to definitely replace all these pickle jars and things. But if someone clicks on that now, they could actually go through adding it to cart here and see everything is really nicely organized. You go to the cart, and I'm doing all this on mobile. You go to checkout. I mean, building this from scratch would really take some time, right? And then you set up and everything else is set. So my store is not yet set up to take payments. So that's something else you need to kind of take care of in the setup process. But hopefully you've seen so far that every step is really, really easy to do. You also want to jump in before we finish up to marketing. And this will, again, let you do SEO, search engine optimization for your whole website to make it easier for Google to see, right? So there's a checklist here. You could search for keywords, or you could hire an SEO expert. So I have a good background with SEO, so I'm going to take care of this part myself. You can set up email campaigns, profiles, a lot more for a beginner's guide here, but you could definitely explore all of these on your own. Let me go back to the homepage here, and let's go ahead and see what we need to do to actually get this website live. Let's go to settings, and let's go to site visibility here. And let's say we want to go public with the website, right? We need to actually publish. So I need to upgrade at this point. Everything I've done so far has been completely free. This is where I need to decide that my website is going to go live and what I want to pay for it. So let me just kind of compare the different options for you. If you have a domain, if you watch my other video on setting up a domain or buying it somewhere else, you could go ahead and not even set one up here. But this does come with a free domain for a year. All the plans do. You could see that check mark. SSL is mandatory. You get this little like icon on top, and it's just the security that Google requires. So you get that by default too. So nothing special with those. But really where the better plans come into play are things like professional email from Google. This is the Google Workspace account that you get that I believe is like $12 a month if you just buy this by itself. So this is kind of a big improvement from the personal option. You could actually hire a professional website designer and developer to do customizations for CSS and JavaScript. Again, more advanced, but they are possible with all the advanced options. So that's kind of the difference. And if you have e-commerce built in, you kind of have to go with the business plan because a lot of those things are not based on the personal plan. So you'll have to go with the business plan here. So you could read more about this advanced things, and you do get Google AdWords and Google AdWords credit too. And I have videos about all kinds of marketing on Instagram, on AdWords, on Facebook. So you could watch some of those on my channel here. So all you have to do at this point is set it up. If you're paying monthly, it's a little bit more actually per month than the yearly plan. But if you're happy, you could go ahead and set this up and it will let you go live with the website. If you're not happy and you feel like you should start designing a better website at this point, you still have the free trial. So play around with it. Make sure you're happy. Everything is set. So when you go live, you're showing the best website possible and actually using it to run your business. Now, if your website has multiple pages, right? This has a shop page, it has a story page. I deleted a blog page. You want to come to pages here and it's going to show you all the different pages. Any of them you could delete if you don't have that page or you don't want the page from the template. But what you could do is if you want to keep like your story page here, you could jump in here and you could edit this page, just this page, not the home page. So our story, right? You could say coming soon, this is going to come soon, and then I'll delete this section. So just in case you even don't work on this right now, you don't have this section, and I'll delete this section. And I'll go ahead and change the picture of this section. Okay, so super simple to change any page. Press save right here. And if you want to change the shop page, which I still need to do, you'll just come over here, click on any of these items and go ahead and edit that out. So I could edit that product or the design and put my own and change the existing pricing and add a description to each one. Once you have all your products set, by the way, it's not quite enough to set up your whole store. So I added the products for sale, but you still have to get a method to get paid. You have to figure out your shipping and you have to choose a subscription plan if you have that. So for example, if you press get paid here, and this is all under the commerce tab on the homepage, you do have to use PayPal or Stripe or Square here as a method of payment. Now I use Stripe for everything. It's one of the easiest way to accept credit cards. That Stripe actually takes care of it for you, but a lot of people prefer PayPal. So a lot of times I connect both. But since this is not just specific to e-commerce, I'm not going to go through the details, but really simple because they just show you exactly how to do this. And you could just look up a video on creating a Stripe account. Very straightforward. And before you finalize everything, typically this is your domain name, right? This is just a kind of a placeholder domain name by Squarespace, but you want yourbusiness.com or .co or something like that. So if you go to settings here, your domain name could be purchased right over here if you click on domain. And you could get a domain. Now, a lot of their pricing comes with a free domain, a lot of their plans. So you could go ahead and get it. So if I select that, it's going to give me a bunch of different options, right? Pineband.com is taken, so I can't get that. But some of the other ones it's going to give you a price for, and I could search on top and check out this way. Or let me go back. If you already have an existing one, you say use my own domain, and maybe you already have a domain from somewhere else. So I know in a previous video I showed you GoDaddy and where I get my domain, so you could get it from there and transfer it. It does make it a little bit more complicated, so if you can just get it from here, the prices are not that different, but you do get that built-in domain, which kind of looks like this. But again, this is something you don't want to share with people, right? You want your business name or something that is more appropriate to be the address, the URL of the website for you. And it's really that simple to use Squarespace to make any type of website, customize it exactly like you like, add your own text and images to it, and even build an e-commerce website where you're selling physical goods like I did here. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish that up and publish this website. I'll put a link below in the description if you want to check it out. Thanks so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.